Now, most people pick their timeshare rental website for the wrong reasons. Either they take the advice of the timeshare salesman, or they're only thinking short term, like, I just want to make money right now, instead of how can my timeshare pay for itself for years to come. Or they're looking for someone to rent it for them. Now, when it comes to hiring someone to rent your timeshare for you, what you have to watch out for are three things. First, if they want your login access to your timeshare account, well, be very careful because that can get your account shut down. Or if they call you and they're offering to rent your weeks at a premium price, but first all they need you to do is pay them $400 up front for every week that you want them to rent for you, well, that's a very common scam. Or if you want to use your timeshare's internal rental service, like Wyndham's Vacation Share program, be aware that they're going to keep a hefty 30 to 40% of your proceeds. And when I talk to timeshare owners who have tried these done-for-you rental services, they say things like, it wasn't worth it because I barely broke even. Or some even admit that they actually lost money. And I believe that the reason why is because these rental services don't have any skin in the game. So if they don't do a great job of renting your timeshare for you, oh well, right? And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense because the truth is, no one's going to care more about your investment than you do. So that's why I recommend learning how to rent your timeshare yourself so you can manage your timeshare wisely and keep more of the profits that you make. And in this video, I'm going to do an analysis of the top 6 timeshare rental websites in 2026 to help you decide which one's best for you. Hi, I'm Sue Oyuela, and I've been teaching timeshare owners how to rent their timeshare safely and profitably since 2012. And believe me, I have tried every timeshare rental website out there over the last decade. Some that got bought out by other companies, some that went out of business long ago, some new ones, and some that have stood the test of time and evolved with the changing short-term rental landscape. Now, the short-term rental market and advertising websites change over time, and that's why I've created a list of criteria that I use to evaluate a timeshare rental website to decide which one's going to give me everything I need to rent my timeshare safely and profitably, especially from a long-term perspective. Because timeshare ownership is a lifetime commitment and sometimes a generational commitment, right? So, from my perspective, I'm looking for a website that will allow me to create a semi-automated timeshare rental system that's going to generate steady, predictable annual income for me with very little effort needed on my part to keep the profits coming in. So if that sounds like a good goal to you, then let's evaluate the most popular timeshare rental websites available right now. Okay, and they are RedWeek, Tug, Koala, VRBO, Airbnb, and Booking. And we're going to evaluate them in 3 different categories. Who's the audience that they attract? What features do they provide? And what's their pricing like? Okay, so from a marketing standpoint, you're going to want to create an advertisement, which we refer to as a listing that your timeshare is for rent. And we're going to put it in front of the widest audience. So it's important to pick a website that's well known. And the question you have to ask yourself is, if I put a listing on this website, how many people are going to find it? Because you can't get a booking and rent out your timeshare unless someone finds your listing in the first place, right? So it's all about getting in front of the widest audience so that you can get the views before you can get a booking. So let me ask you this. When I went down the list of timeshare rental websites, did you think to yourself, wow, I've never heard of that website before? Well, if so, then your ideal guest probably hasn't either, which means hardly anybody's going to find your listings if you put them on those websites. Does that make sense? So that's a good test right there. If you've never heard of it, then it's probably not the best place to create your listings. So looking at our list, chances are good that you've probably never heard of RedWeek, Tug, or Koala because they're primarily known only to timeshare owners, which means if you put a listing on those websites, mostly other timeshare owners will see them, which is a very small audience. But when we get into using the peer-to-peer websites like VRBO, Airbnb, and Booking, now we're playing with the big boys. These are the 3 largest online travel agencies that allow individuals to create listings for short-term rentals. Now, VRBO has a broader reach with 18 to 20 million unique monthly visitors. Airbnb has an estimated 275 million users worldwide, generating over 100 million monthly visits. And Booking has an average of 500 to 600 million monthly website visits. Okay, so the next question we need to ask ourselves is, if I put a listing on this website, how much are the guests willing to pay me to rent my timeshare? Now, this is where we get into the money mindset of the guests, and each website attracts a different type of guest. So, guests fall into two money mindset categories: the bargain-based shoppers and the value-based shoppers. Now, bargain-based shoppers are looking for the lowest price. They want to use coupons, they do comparison shopping, and they ask for discounts. Value-based shoppers, on the other hand, have a goal in mind. They're trying to find the best place to stay that delivers the best overall experience that they want, and money is the last thing that they're considering. Now, timeshare owners who are looking for a timeshare to rent on RedWeek or Tug already know that the timeshare owners who are renting their weeks are paying very little. So the audience tends to make lowball offers and ask, "Oh, come on, can't you give me a better price?" And that means that timeshare owners who rent on RedWeek and Tug are lucky to make enough to break even and cover the cost of their maintenance fees. Koala is a relatively new timeshare rental website. For the last few years, they've been focused on attracting timeshare owners to list their timeshare for rent on their website so that they can build out their base of timeshare rental properties. And then just recently, they've begun to pour money into advertising to attract a wider audience of guests beyond their internal audience of just timeshare owners. However, their marketing campaign is targeted toward bargain-based shoppers. For example, their slogan is Koala, book luxury resort stays for up to 70% off. And VRBO attracts multi-generational families, larger groups, and travelers focused on whole home rentals in traditional vacation markets like beaches, lakes, and mountains. Now here's where you're going to find a mix of bargain and value-based shoppers. And if we take a look at Airbnb, well, they're the undisputed pioneer and dominant force in the global short-term rental and alternative accommodation niche. They appeal to vacationers, remote workers, and guests looking for long-term stays. These folks are also focused on localized cultural experiences and unique accommodations. And what we found is Airbnb attracts the full gamut of shoppers, everything from renting a room in a house to a luxury penthouse. Now, Booking has an audience of primarily international travelers, business travelers, and individuals who are booking a mix of hotels and alternative accommodations like apartments and villas. Now, these folks are definitely value-based shoppers, and they are willing to pay more. Now, if I'm going to set up a timeshare rental system that I'm going to make money with for years to come, the most important thing to me is efficiency. So the next question is, if I create a listing on this website, can I reuse it over and over again, or is it a disposable one-time use listing? Because I know myself, and if I have to start from scratch every time I want to rent my timeshare, I probably won't stick with it. So the way RedWeek, Tug, and Koala work, as well as Wyndham's internal timeshare rental service called Vacation Share, you're going to pick the resort, the unit size, and the dates that you want to rent. And then after you make the reservation with your timeshare, then you're going to give it to them to rent for you. Generally, they will create the listing, do the marketing, and collect the money for you. But once it's booked or it expires, it's over. And if you want to do another one, then you have to repeat the process all over again. So this is what I call a disposable listing. But rental websites like VRBO, Airbnb, and Booking allow you to create a listing one time and then reuse it over and over again. And besides being more efficient, this reusable listing feature also has an added benefit because guests leave reviews after they stay, and the reviews are attached to that specific listing. So future guests are going to see all the great reviews, which is going to build trust so that guests are willing to book more easily with you and pay you more over time. So now let's talk about the most important feature when it comes to renting your timeshare. And the question is, how much control do you have over your calendar settings? Specifically when it comes to making specific dates available for booking. Because one of the principles of renting a timeshare is that if the dates aren't available that the guests want to book, you're never going to make any money. And I'm sure you've experienced it at least once when you go to make a reservation with your timeshare and you get that message, sorry, those dates aren't available, right? So the same thing is true when it comes to renting your timeshare. You want to be sure that if the guests are asking for dates they want to stay, that you're going to be able to say, yes, those dates are available. That's why it's critical that we have complete control over the calendar, being able to block all future dates and then open up only the dates that we have available for booking. Well, Booking has no such feature. They are designed to be always open. VRBO has a way to block and open dates, but the feature is really difficult to use, and many have reported that their changes didn't stick, which resulted in getting a booking for dates that they couldn't reserve with the timeshare, so they had to cancel the booking and pay VRBO a fine. But Airbnb gets it. They give us a one-click feature to block the entire calendar, and then granular control over every single date on the calendar so that we can open up just the dates we have available and confidently offer them to the guests for booking. And finally, there is the price to consider. Because every website and service we use is going to charge something, and rightfully so. So the question we have to ask is, how much does it cost to use their website? And if we're renting our timeshare, we want to keep our expenses as low as possible so that we can keep as much as possible. That way, we increase our profit margin, which is ultimately the goal of renting our timeshares, right? Now, RedWeek begins with a $19.99 annual membership fee that has to be paid. And then if you want to rent your timeshare, they charge an upfront cost of $59.99 for a listing fee, and a 5% commission is deducted from the total rental price, but only when they successfully rent your week. Tug, on the other hand, simply charges a $15 annual membership fee, and then it's free to create rental ads. But that means that you have to do all the screening, payment handling, and agreement signing with the guests, which is much riskier when dealing with unverified strangers on the internet. Now, Koala has several service tiers to choose from. Their basic silver tier is free to list, and then Koala only takes 8% commission when your timeshare is successfully booked. Or you can go up to the gold VIP level, where you'll pay a $100 upfront fee, then a $249 annual membership fee that gives you access to their hub. It gives you suggested listings, and your listings are going to get a gold VIP badge on them. Or you can go all the way up to their top tier, the platinum VIP level, for a $100 upfront fee, then a $399 annual membership fee, and that gives you everything in the gold VIP level, plus the Koala concierge service, and a VIP hotline, plus a platinum VIP badge on your listings. So that's something to look into to see if it's right for you. But if you're interested in listing on Booking, they have no upfront fee, and then they'll just take between 10 to 25% commission from every booking, plus a merchant fee that averages about 2%. And you can also upgrade to preferred status for an additional 3% to get your listing boosted in search rankings. But if you're interested in listing on VRBO, they have no upfront fee, and they take an 8% commission from every booking. Similarly, Airbnb has no upfront fee, but they are the clear winner because all they keep is a 3% commission from every booking, leaving you with the highest profit margin. So that's my analysis of the leading timeshare rental websites in 2026. In summary, I prefer to use Airbnb for my timeshare rentals and for training purposes because they attract a wide audience, they have low fees, and they give me complete control of my calendar. It's been the secret to my timeshare rental success, as well as my students who are making an average of $10,000 or more per year in predictable recurring revenue. And it would be my honor to be your trusted timeshare rental trainer too. I'm available for a free 30-minute Zoom call if you'd like to talk strategy for your specific timeshare. If so, just click the link below and schedule that now. This is Sue Oyuela wishing you all the best and timeshare rental success. Bye for now.